toast makers, shot takers, and y'all know my favorite, puff chasers. So you see the thumbnail, and let's have a talk. So I saw this news probably about a few days ago when it first released. I think it first was announced around the 29th or 23rd. Not I say 23rd, the 29th or the 30th of September, and it was announced that Kenan Thompson's ex-wife or estranged wife, Christina Evangeline, is now dating his former co-star on Saturday Night Live and Kenan's sitcom, Chris Red, and said that according to Us Magazine, that the couple has been in a relationship beginning of, this year. And if we know anything about relationships, we know that these things have a tendency to overlap each other, right? Because it was announced back in November of 2020 that Kenan was filing for divorce from Christina Evangeline, right? Which, when we talk about divorce and being prepared for that in these male-oriented spaces, we always talk about watch out for the woman who could potentially file for divorce, with women filing for divorce at a 70 to 80 percentile. But this was kind of a shocker because it was him that filed for divorce. But it just kind of go to show, man, even a man can get sick of a situation or can grow weary or grow out of a situation that he established with someone for so long, because they was married, according to the article, for 11 years and had been together for a total of 14 years. So, man, we talking about under 2 decades. That's a good little time to be together with someone, especially in today's, relationship climate. But to just hear that his former co-star, not only someone that you co-starred on Saturday Night Live with, but this man also plays your brother on your own show. And now it's been announced that this same man that you have spent an X amount of time around is now dating your ex-wife, potentially, right? Your potential ex-wife, because the divorce is still going on, I think, or is pending, one of the two. But anyways, it's just one of those things where when you talk about like the Hollywood insiders, the Hollywood elites, individuals who are in the acting realm, who kind of, run in the same circles, it's a very peculiar thing, because this is not really the first time that we've heard someone dating someone else within the same circles. But for it to be this close, it's kind of a bit of a shocker. Because if it wasn't, this wouldn't be, headlining news as far as the Hollywood rankings are concerned. And a lot of people probably saying, well, Brad, why does a story like this concern you, right? And I think it's concerning for myself, because for men, we have a lot of things we have to contend with nowadays when it comes to relationships. We have social media, social media where women are constantly getting attention from different men, whether they're single, whether they're in a relationship, whether they're married, guys who are constantly trying to go in the DMs of these women to try to see, how much they can get out of these women, regardless of their relationship status. You have society in general that's trying to tell women to not get into relationships and to be by themselves and to be independent, and, they're having to contend with that, We basically live in a gynocratic society that encourages women to live lives separately of men. Now you have a situation where you have to now worry about individuals who surround you potentially coming down on your ex, if your relationship, does end, if and when, right? And I think it's one of those things where, as a man, you really have to just be aware, man, because you just never know, bro. You just never know, like, who is going to be their replacement. And sometimes, man, that replacement is someone who is close to you, which I think a lot of times is a blindsiding event. Oh God, I can't speak right now, Jesus. But it's a blinding effect, because that's probably the last person that this man would ever think that would be together with his ex. It kind of reminds me of the situation with B2K lead singer Omarion, when he got the news that one of his bandmates, Lil Fizz, was involved with the mother of his two children, April Jones, right? And they kind of had a similar situation, similar background, similar to that of Evangeline and Red, where according to the article from Us Magazine, Evangeline and Red allegedly were friends long before he was a member on SNL, and have had a very close relationship for a long time, which is a red flag. You know, when you're talking about having a relationship with a woman and she has a close relationship with a guy, you often have to contend with the fact that that guy may be someone who is hoping that the relationship between you and that woman ends so that he could potentially replace you, you know? Or these may be individuals that may have had, you know, a situation in the past, and he's hoping that things go awry so that he can move in and now take advantage of that situation as well. So to hear this, it is a bit shocking, you know, because I think of all the men in Hollywood that Kenan Thompson knows that could have been on that show with him, he decided to choose Red of all individuals. And I would like to base that off of the fact that they were co-workers on SNL. Now you got to look up, you know, years later, in this situation, months later, and hear that this same man is now involved with your ex-wife. And I can almost imagine that if they had been friends for a while, and not too long after he announced that him and his estranged wife were filing for divorce, that he quickly made his advancements, or probably had already been in some type of situationship with her, because according to the magazine article, Thompson and Evangeline allegedly had been separated since 2019, long before COVID. So there's a great possibility that this relationship been going on, but because a lot of things were still kind of in the works, they decided not to make it official until the last, you know, couple of days ago, which is very interesting timing, you know, to say the least. Very interesting timing. And then they try to smooth it over, saying that Thompson was already dating other individuals, so it wasn't really any hard feelings on their end, right? Which we understand that's publicity, that's public relations talk, to not kind of like make Thompson look like he's like the bitter ex, like, what, you know, my co-star dating my ex-wife, yeah, I feel some type of way. Because if I know men, and if I know how I would feel in a situation like that, I would feel a bit blindsided that someone who I worked closer with for years is now dating my ex-wife, if there's not, you know, 10 million people in LA that you could have dated. But of all the people that you decided to date, you decided to date my ex-wife. That man, I don't have proof. But I can tell you that fam probably feels a way about that man dating his ex-wife. There's no doubt in my mind that that man probably feels a way about him dating his ex-wife, right? And then in the article, it's going to say that she's the most happiest that she's been in years, which, you know, that's a dig at Thompson. I don't know if that's just due to the fact that he filed for divorce, or if there really were issues going on in a relationship. But gentlemen, just be careful, man, of, you know, who you surround yourself with, the friends that you call friends, people that you work in close relation with, because you never know, man, how these people could come back and then, you know, repay you by being your replacement. You know, what is a cold world, man, but it happens, man. It happens. So you just have to just be aware and just be on your P's and Q's, honestly, because it's not something that you can really control. It's just one of those things where when it just happens, you have to just kind of roll the punches, man. and just kind of like let it be, you know. And then oftentimes too, in these situations as well, the relationship really don't relatively last long. So this is probably gonna be a flash in the pan event anyways. It's just really interesting to see that these gentlemen have worked together, and then this is the product of, you know, that working relationship. So, you know, gents, just be on your P's and Q's, man. Just keep your peripheral open, man. But that's just my 5 cents. If you want to add to the conversation, add your replies to the comment section down below, man. I want to see what you think. I want to see what your opinion is about this, and we'll have that conversation. But until next time, eyes front, head out to the finish. See this shit through.